First of all, I would like to thank everyone for joining the webinar. I, Zaira Madina Zaid, welcome you all for the webinar on organic chemistry presented by Meenakshi ma'am. These are all the links for our pages. If you want, you can go ahead and follow us. Organic chemistry is the study of life and all of the chemical reactions related to life. Organic chemistry also plays a major role in the development of common household chemicals, foods, plastics, drugs, fuels, and most of the chemical parts of daily life. Before all of these, let me just give a brief about the company. This webinar is organized by Alma Mater Sparks, and Alma Mater is a premier solution provider on human capital optimization. Alma Mater was established in the year 2004, and our forte lies in various things like we are into KPO, we are into training, we are into staffing and recruitment solutions. If you want to know more about our company, visit the Alma Mater website that will share soon on the comment section. Once you go through the website, you will understand that our incredible success has inspired us to create a strong support program. And for that, we have launched Sparks, a support program aimed at raising knowledge and skill. Spark is to give individuals exposure to the various skills that will help them identify their own specialization and make their future filled with health, wealth, and happiness. To know more about the AMSPARKs, our online classes, and upcoming webinars, you can visit the AMSPARK website. That will share soon on the comment section. Okay, am I audible now? Okay, so let me continue from Sparks. Sparks is a support program aimed at raising knowledge and skill. The motive of Spark is to give individual exposure to various skills that will help them identify their own specialization to make their future a prosperous one. To know more about AmSparks, about our online classes and webinars, you can visit the AmSpark website. That too we will shortly share on the comment box. So this is just the background of what we have. Now, apart from all this that we are carrying out right now, is that we are trying to take webinars every week or every other week of the month to train the students about some new topic through the webinar. And coming to today's webinar, as you all know, it is on organic chemistry that will be presented by Meenakshi ma'am, who will be the instructor of the day. Now, if we talk about Meenakshi ma'am has done her BSc in chemistry, also her MSc in chemistry. Ma'am has also done her PhD in chemistry. After this, ma'am has a teaching experience for about 4 years. 2 years of experience ma'am has taught to 11th class students, 12th class students, JEE and NEET aspirants. Apart from that, ma'am has also done online teaching for chemistry and science in the online reputed platforms. After this, ma'am, let's discuss about ma'am's research experience. Ma'am has worked as a research scholar on the topic entitled Mesophorus metal oxides synthesis and their potential applications from September 2015 to March 2021. Ma'am has also worked on a project entitled A Study on Nanostructured Based Semiconductor for Photoelectrochemical Splitting of Water from May 2012 to December 2012. If we talk about ma'am's achievement, ma'am has achieved the Best Presentation Award for presenting a paper titled Template-Based Synthesis of Mesophorus nanoparticles and their application as gas sensors in the 6th International Symposium on Integrated Functionalities held during 10 to 13 December 2017, New Delhi. It is such an honor for us to have you today with us, ma'am. Now over to you. You can start the session.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. So today we'll start with, ma'am, can you enable the screen participation?
Yes, ma'am. I have done that. Now you can share your screen.
Thank you so much. Welcome to today's session. Welcome to Alma Mater. So today our topic of discussion is organic chemistry, the introduction about the organic chemistry and its basic principles. So first of all, to start any chapter, we need to know what that topic means. So here it is organic chemistry. We all have heard of carbon, which has a atomic mass of 12 and 12 grams and atomic number 6. And along with this, carbon has a property of catenation. And what does mean by the property of catenation? Catenation means self-linking property. That means carbon can link with itself, and it has this property to a maximum extent. Along with this, carbon also have a tendency to form bonds with other elements, like it can form bond with hydrogen, it can form bond with oxygen, it can form bond with nitrogen, it can form bond with sulfur, phosphorus, and halogens. Halogens means the group 17th element, that is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. These are the group 17 elements. So carbon has a tendency to form compound with all these elements and also with itself. So due to this property of carbon, carbon can form bonds, and these compounds are known as organic compound. And since they are very enormous in number, so there is a separate branch to study all of them, which is known as organic chemistry. So to sum up what is organic chemistry, we can say that organic chemistry is the branch of chemistry that deals with the study of carbon and its compound, carbon and its derivatives. Okay. Now, why to study organic chemistry? Why it is important to study organic chemistry? Because 99% of the known chemical compounds are the organic compounds, right? This is here is the structure of DNA. What is DNA? DNA is a organic molecule. And why it is very important? Because it is used to transmit genetic information from parents to offsprings. Okay, it is a very useful in Homo sapiens species. That's why we have to study organic chemistry. Along with this, the fuels we use like coal, oil, natural gas, kerosene, propane, all these are also the organic compounds. Along with this, the organic compound, the research in the organic chemistry or in the organic compound field will allow the pharmaceutical industries to discover and develop new medicines that would be more effective than the previous one available. So it is organic chemistry plays important role in all chemical reactions related to life, and along with this is also plays an important role in the chemical industry, food industry, in drugs, in fuels, which comprises of the most of the daily part of our life. That's why we have to study organic chemistry, because it is involved in every aspect of our life. Next is what to study in organic chemistry. If we start studying any topic, there are some of the points that we have to study. Okay, so this is all the introductory topics that we have to study in the organic chemistry. First is the tetravalency of carbon. As we have discussed that what is organic chemistry is basically the chemistry, the study of carbon and its compound. So we have to study why carbon formed this many compounds. So this is due to the tetravalency of carbon. So we'll study about that. Now, when the carbon will form bond, it will form covalent bond. And what kind of covalent bond? This is sigma bond, pi bond, right? Then when the bond will get formed, then how we represent these organic compound? Then there will be the structural representation of organic compound. Then the classification of organic compound based on the carbon skeleton and based on the group that is attached to the carbon. Now, when the compound has formed, they will react, the reagent will react, the reaction will occur, the product will be formed. So all this is explained in the topic reaction mechanism. And how the reaction proceed? By the breaking of the bond, or we can say the fission of the bond. So we have to study about the fission, breaking, or cleavage of the bonds. Then when the bond will break, the new bond will form. The new bond will form by the help of the attacking species, and then that attacking species is known as the reagent. So we have to study about the reagents. Then about the type of organic reaction, whether water is adding, whether any compound is adding, whether any compound is replacing, whether any compound is removing. So all these reactions comes under different classes in the organic chemistry. So we'll study about the types of organic reaction, and then the application of organic compounds. All this we have to study in the general introduction of the organic chemistry. So first of all, we'll start with the tetravalency of carbon. Okay, as we know that the ground state electronic configuration of carbon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. That means if we have to represent, then it will be this is the 1s orbital, this is the 2s orbital, and this is the 2p orbital. This is 1s2, 2s2, and 2p2. Now there are only 2 electrons available for bonding. Okay, so if carbon has to form bond in any organic compound, then it should be divalent. But in all of the known stable compound, carbon is tetravalent. So there must be 4 electrons.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Your voice is breaking.
Okay. Now is it clear?
Yeah, now it's okay. Continue.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay.
You can continue now.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible, and it is just like can you start from the ground state electrons?
Okay. So ground state electronic configuration of carbon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2, right? So we can represent it like this. In this configuration, there are only 2 unpaired electrons. That means 2 free electrons are available for bonding. But when we see the compounds of the carbon, we'll see that the carbon is tetravalent. How is that possible? Tetravalence means there should be 4 electrons available for bonding. So this is explained by the excited state concept. In excited state concept, what will happen? If we provide energy to the carbon, or the carbon atom will get in the excited state, 1 electron from the 2s orbital will jump into the 2p orbital. So now what will be the configuration then? The configuration in the excited state will be 1s2, 2s1, and 2p3. Now there are 4 electrons available for bonding. So now carbon will bond with 4 other atoms, will form 4 bond. Therefore, in organic compounds, carbon show tetravalency. So if carbon show tetravalency, form these kind of bond, and the bond formed by carbon is by the sharing of electrons. And when the carbon share electrons and formed with other element, it will form the covalent bonds. That means in organic compound, the carbon formed covalent bonds. Okay. Now we'll see what kind of bonds will carbon form. Carbon has a unique property of forming both covalent bonds. Okay, one is the sigma bond and second is the pi bond. Sigma bond is formed by the axial overlapping of the bond. Axial overlapping means here is carbon and here is another carbon, right? As we know, availables for bonding, there are 4 electron available for bonding, and so there will be orbitals available for bonding. One of the orbital of carbon will overlap in the end-to-end process and it will form a sigma bond. That means sigma bond is formed by the linear or axial overlapping of the orbital. Now the rest of the orbital are available for bonding, and now carbon has to form another bond. Now what will happen? The carbon will form the pi bond. That means there will be the side-wise overlapping of the orbital. That means the orbital that is the p orbital that are available, will overlap in a parallel way or in a sidewise way like this to form the pi bonds. Okay, so sigma bond is in organic chemistry is a type of covalent bond which is formed by the linear or axial overlapping of the orbital, and the orbital should be along the internuclear axis, right? And the rest of the bonding is done by the sidewise overlapping of the orbital, and it leads to the formation of the pi bond. So if there is a single bond present between a carbon molecule in a carbon-carbon bond, then it is by the axial overlapping, so it will be a sigma bond. Now, if there is a case of the double bond, then one is the sigma bond and the other is the pi bond. And if there is a case of the triple bond, then in the case of the triple bond, one is the sigma bond and the two orbitals overlap the sidewise ways, so it will be a pi bond. Okay, now what kind of questions can arise from this part, that how many sigma bonds or how many pi bonds are present here? Okay, if there is a single bond, then all the single bonds will be the sigma bond, whether it will be between carbon-carbon, it will be between carbon or any other atom. Okay, and if there is a double bond, then in the double bond, one is the sigma bond and one is the pi bond. So in this case, how many sigma bonds are there? There are 8 sigma bond and 1 pi bond, right? Now in this case, how many sigma and pi bonds will be present? All the single bonds will be the sigma bond, and in the triple bond, 2 will be the pi bond. So here 6 will be the sigma bond and 2 will be the pi bond. Okay, so this is the sigma bond and pi bond which is formed by the carbon compound in the organic compound, by carbon in the organic compound. Next is the structural representation of organic compound. Once the bond is formed between the carbon or any other atom, there will be the structure that will be formed. And how the structure will be formed? The structure of the organic compound represented by the 4 ways. First is complete or dash structure. In this structure, if the shared pair of electrons are represented by a single dash line, then this structure is known as the dash structure. Second structure is the condensed structure. If in the dash structure will only represent the number of atoms and will omit the single bonds, and if there is a double and triple bond, then we have to show the double and triple bond, but single bonds are omitted, and the number of atoms which is connected by the single bond is represented by a numeric number, by a subscript over the atom which is bonded to the carbon. So here the structure of the ethane dash form is represented by this, and in the condensed form it will be represented by this. Okay, third is the bond line structure. In bond line structure, the zigzag line will represent the carbon atom and the terminals denote the carbonyl denote the methyl group, right? Suppose this here it will represent the term, here it also a terminal, it will represent the methyl group. Here it is also a terminal, it will represent the methyl group. So this is the bond line structure of ethane. Now suppose we have another example like this. Okay, so this will represent the methyl group, this will represent the methyl group, and how many carbon are present in between? 1 and 2, because zig 1 carbon, zag 1 carbon, then here methyl and 2 carbon. Here carbon will for 4 bond, 2 will be satisfying by the other carbon, and the rest 2 we assume that it will be satisfied by the CH hydrogen atom. So this zigzag structure is the structure of butane, right? Last way by which we can represent the organic compound is the three-dimensional representation. In the three-dimensional representation, as carbon is tetravalent and the structure of carbon is tetrahedral. Tetrahedral means the two of the bonds out of the four bonds, as we have discussed, carbon will involve four bonds. Out of the four bonds, two will be in the plane and two will be the out of plane. The solid wedge one will be towards the viewer and the dash wedge will be away from the viewer. So it will be two bonds in the plane, two bonds out of the plane, one towards the viewer and one away from the viewer. So in this, these are the four ways in which we can represent the organic compound. Next is the classification of organic compound. We can classify organic compound on the two bases. One is on the basis of the carbon skeleton and second on the basis of the functional group present connected to the carbon atom. Okay, so here first based on the carbon skeleton. Organic compound, if the organic compound are simple chain like structure, that means the carbon-carbon are in an open chain, then those organic compound are known as acyclic or open chain compound, and they are also known as aliphatic compounds. Okay, if there another kind of compound where carbon is formed closed chain structure, okay, then closed chain structure compound are known as the ring compound or the cyclic compound. The ring compound or cyclic compound are further divided into two classes. One is the homocyclic and second is the heterocyclic. Homocyclic means these organic compound will have only carbon in their cyclic structure, in their cyclic chain. Okay, hetero compounds means along with the carbon, they'll also have heteroatom present in the chain. For example, in furane, oxygen is present along with the carbon chain in the closed structure. In pyrrole, nitrogen is present with the carbon chain. In thiophene, sulfur is present, and in pyridine, nitrogen is present. Okay, so all these are the cyclic compound but heterocyclic compound. Hetero means other atom also available, and other atom could be oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, and pyridine, nitrogen, oxygen. Homocyclic means only carbon chain is present. That means have only carbon atoms. These are further divided into two, that is alicyclic and aromatic. Alicyclic compounds are those which do not follow Huckel's rule. Okay, and aromatic compounds are those which follow Huckel's rule. Okay, what is Huckel rules? Huckel rules means if there is any organic aromatic compound, then in those aromatic compound, there must be present pi electrons. And the number of these pi electrons should be 4n plus 2. Okay, and where n could be 0, 1, 2, 3. Right? So if we take this here, how many pi electrons are present? 1, 2, there are 1, 2, 3. There are 3 pi bonds in benzene and each bond has 2 electrons. So there are 6 electrons present in the benzene, 6 pi electrons. So if we put the value of n is equals to 1, so it will come 6 electrons. That means, yes, benzene is an aromatic compound. Naphthalene, again, naphthalene will show 10. That means if we put the value of n is equals to 2, there would be 10 electrons, 10 pi electrons, and it is in accordance with the 4n plus 2 pi electrons. That is, it is in the accordance with the Huckel rule. So naphthalene is also an aromatic compound. Whereas in acyclic, alicyclic compounds, Huckel's rule will not get followed. Only it will have the carbon-carbon chain. Okay, there could be unsaturation present, but they will not follow Huckel rule. Next is the classification of organic compound based on functional group. Okay, if there is a double or triple bond containing compounds, if there is a double bond between carbon and carbon, then that compound are known as alkene. If there is a triple bond between carbon and carbon, those organic compounds are known as alkyne. Halogen, next classification is halogen derivative. Halogen means either carbon will be attached to chlorine, bromine, iodine, means to the halogen. If it is connected with the any alkyl group, that means CH3X, C2H5X, then these compounds are known as haloalkane. And if it is connected to any phenyl ring, then these are known as haloarine. This ring is C6H5. Now suppose carbon is connected with oxygen containing compounds. If the oxygen containing compound is OH, if the functional group is OH, those organic compound is known as alcohol. That means the example of alcohol can be CH3OH or C2H5OH. If there is bond between ROR, that means if a bond will be like this, R means any alkyl group, so this will be ether. If there is a carbonyl group present, what is a carbonyl group? This C double bond O is a carbonyl group. If alkyl chain, that means the chain of the carbon is attached to the alkyl group, it will be aldehyde. And if it carbonyl carbon both attached to both side to the alkyl chain, it will be a ketone. So it could be aldehyde, it could be ketone. Then carboxylic acid and its derivative. Similarly, if nitrogen is present in the organic compound, then they could be amine, nitro compound, cyanide, and isocyanide. In all these organic compound, along with carbon, nitrogen is also present. Okay. So these are the two classification, one based on the carbon skeleton and second based on the organic functional group. Next is the reaction mechanism. Now carbon get in the excited state, has 4 electrons available for bonding, did bonding with the other carbon atom or with the other hetero atom. If did bonding within the carbon-carbon, then it could be a hydrocarbon. If it will do double bond, it will be alkene. If triple bond, it will be alkyne. Similarly, if it form bond with other intermediates, oxygen, it will be OH group, it will be alcohol. If it form with CHO, it will be aldehyde. So the bond, there will be forming, bond is breaking and a new bonds are forming. So all this is explained by reaction mechanism. In an organic reaction, what has happened? There is an organic molecule which we call substrate. Okay, and there is a attacking reagent available. This attacking reagent will attack on substrate molecule. Okay, when this will attack on substrate molecule, an intermediate will get formed. Okay, there are 3 types of intermediates will get formed depending upon the how the bond breaking is taking place. Okay, then intermediate will form and the intermediate will lead in the formation of the product. So this is the whole reaction procedure of the organic reaction. That is, attacking reagent will attack the substrate. So then the attacking reagent and substrate together will form the intermediate, and the intermediate will get converted into the product. This reaction involves the breaking of the bond and the formation of the bond. Okay, when the bond forms, the energy will release, and this energy will be consumed in the breaking of the bonds afterwards. Bond form, energy release, bond break. Again, bond form, energy release, bond break. The breaking of bond leads to the formation of intermediate, or we can say the transition state. Okay, and in the process, all these process is explained by the reaction mechanism. So what we can say, a reaction mechanism is a sequential amount of each step describing details of electron movement, energetics during bond cleavage, bond formation, the rate of the transformation of reagent into product is the organic reaction mechanism. Now breaking of a bond or fission of a bond. How the bond will break in organic reactions. The bond in the organic reaction can be break by two ways. One is the homolytic and one is the heterolytic. We know that each bond has two electrons in it, right? Homo means same. Homo means same. That means if a bond is formed between the two atoms, then if there will be a homolytic cleavage, then each atom of the compound will get one electron, right? This will get one electron, this will get one electron. That means the electron of the bond will get distributed in both the atoms, and the species that will form is known as the free radical, right? This is free radical. Second type of fission is heterolytic fission. In heterolytic fission, when will heterolytic fission happen? When there is a difference in electronegativity. When there will be difference in electronegativity, right? If B in this bond, if B is more electronegative, then it will attract the shared pair of electrons towards itself. When it will attract the shared pair of electron towards itself, it will acquire a negative charge when bond will break, and A will acquire a positive charge. That means a cation will form and an anion will form. Okay. And if the opposite of this will happen, if A is more electronegative than B, either of the case could be possible. So in this case, the A will form an anion and the B will form a cation. The cation which is formed is known as carbocation, and the anion which is formed is known as carbanion. All these are the intermediates. So by the break, when the attacking reagent will attack the substrate, the intermediate will form. And what kind of intermediate can be formed? It could be free radical, carbocation, and carbanion. If the bond breaking is by homolytic fission, free radical will be formed. If it is by heterolytic, then either carbocation or carbanion can be formed. And the stability of these carbocation, carbanion, and free radical is explained by various electronic effects in the covalent bond. Next is the attacking species. We have studied what is intermediate. We have studied the substrate. Substrate is any organic compound, right? It could be any functional group. It could be alcohol. It could be acid. It could be nitrogen containing compound. Then we have studied when that substrate, in that substrate, the bond will break, what kind of intermediates will be formed, that we have studied. Now we'll study what are the attacking species, reagents that will attack on the substrate. So there are two type of reagent. One is the electrophile and second is the nucleophiles. Electrophiles are electron loving species. Okay, electron loving species means they are inclined towards electron. When will they incline towards electron? When they are itself the electron deficient and they will attack on electron rich site. Okay, they are known as Lewis acids. Now nucleophiles means nucleus loving species. Nucleus loving species means they are nucleus is positive charge. So if there is a negative charge, then only it will incline towards nucleus. So it is electronically rich species. It will attack on electron deficient site and it is a Lewis base. Okay. So what are the electrophiles available? All the atoms which will have the positive charge like H plus, Cl plus, Br plus, I plus, NO2 plus, all these will act as electrophile. Neutral species will also act as electrophile. When will neutral species will act as electrophile? When any group of atom will be bonded to the electronegative element, or when they will have the vacant p orbitals or any vacant d orbitals, so that the electrons can be received in the vacant orbitals. Nucleophiles are the nucleus loving species. That means they are electronically rich. So the negative charge containing species are all the nucleophiles. Organometallic nucleophiles, all the organometallic compounds are the nucleophiles. Then the double bond, triple bond, any double bond or triple bond containing species is also act as nucleophile, because in the double and triple bond the electron density is high because there is a sidewise overlapping. So the electron density is present above and below the bond, so it is act as a nucleophile. So these are the electrophiles, that these are the species which will act as electrophiles, and these are the species which will act as nucleophile. Now, reagent will attack the substrate, both will form intermediate, and the product will be formed. Now we'll study how the product will be formed by the different type of reactions. So what are the type of reactions that are available in organic chemistry? First is the substitution reaction. In substitution reaction, an atom or a group of atom in any organic compound, if replaced by any other atom, then those reactions are known as the substitution reaction. Here in this case, what is happening? This hydrogen is getting replaced by the chlorine. Here, this hydrogen is getting removed and the chlorine is being added in this structure. So this is a substitution reaction in which here is methane. In methane, one hydrogen is removed and it will form chloromethane. That means one chlorine atom is being added. Second is the elimination reaction. Elimination means anything which will eliminate. In elimination reaction, any atom, two atoms will eliminate from an organic compound and from the two adjacent atoms. That means here, from here, this H and this Cl will eliminate and it will lead to the formation of alkene. In the elimination reaction, unsaturated hydrocarbon, that means either alkene or formation of alkyne will take place. Third is the addition reaction. In the addition reaction, any atom or group of atom will add to the organic molecule. This is an organic molecule. Here, water molecule will get add. Okay. Here, what will happen? Double bond shifts toward one side. Here, one side OH will add and one side hydrogen will add. It will lead to the formation of ethanol, that is in another an organic compound. Next is the addition elimination reaction. In addition elimination reaction, what will happen? Two molecules, two organic molecules will add, and when they will add, there is also an elimination of any molecule. So this is carboxylic acid, this is alcohol, and this is the process of esterification. In esterification, what will happen? Carboxylic acid react with alcohol and it will form ester, but with the elimination of the water molecule. Here, the water molecule will get eliminated. Okay. Last type of reaction is rearrangement reaction. In rearrangement reaction, what will happen? Any atom or group of atom, one or more atom in the same molecule will change their places. Okay. Here is H2O. What will happen? Here is Br. This Br will get eliminated, and here in place of H, the OH molecule will get added. The rearrangement in the organic molecule will take place for the better stability. So these are the all 5 type of reaction that we studied in organic chemistry. Now we have studied about the organic chemistry. So there are various applications. Hydrocarbons can be saturated, unsaturated, and they are used in as fuel, in cooking, drying, in petrochemical industries. Halogen derivative are used as refrigerant, as solvents, as propellant in rockets, and also in pharmaceutical industries. Alcohol is used as solvent in marker pens, medicines, cosmetics, in the deodorant and perfume industries. Aldehyde and are used as the preserving reagent, as insecticides and pesticides, and ketone is used in as solvent in various industries, right, in nail paint remover and paint thinner. So these all are the applications of the organic compound. So today we have studied about the organic chemistry. That means the study of carbon and its compound is the organic chemistry. We studied about the tetravalency of carbon, due to which various organic compounds get formed. We studied about the reaction mechanism in which any organic molecule is a substrate, in which attacking species that we call reagent, it could be either electrophile or nucleophile, will attack. The breaking of bond will take place. The breaking of bond either could be homolytic or heterolytic, which leads to the formation of an intermediate. An intermediate will be free radical, carbocation and carbanion, and finally it will lead to the formation of the product. Product is also an organic compound, and these are the applications of the organic compound. So this is about the small and brief introduction about the organic chemistry, about the organic compound. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really a great session to enhance our knowledge on organic chemistry. We hope our participants liked it too. Let me just share my screen. Now, is my screen visible? Now, if anyone has any question, you can go ahead and ask ma'am your question and clear your doubt. You can either unmute yourself or send your query in the comment section. Anyone has any doubt?
I have one question. Meenakshi madam,
Yes.
what kind of careers are possible when, let's say, if I studied organic chemistry, right, and I go in depth in learning organic chemistry,
Okay.
what kind of career can I choose?
First of all, if you want to proceed your studies in higher studies in organic chemistry, first thing you have to do the BSc honors. Okay, in the BSc honors, we don't have any choices. We have to study the syllabus of the chemistry, all syllabus, all three chemistry, inorganic, organic, and physical. But later on, when we move to the post graduation, that is MSc chemistry, in that that is a 2-year program. In most of the university, the first year is to study the general chemistry, and in the second year you can opt for either physical chemistry, organic chemistry, and inorganic chemistry. Okay, and in some of the university there is a dissertation program in which you have to do a 1-year project. Instead of choosing any particular field in the chemistry, you choose the dissertation in which you did a project either of the in the 3 branches. Now if you did organic chemistry, MSc organic chemistry, then first thing is that you can do PhD, and you can apply as the assistant professor or as the assistant professor or as the research scholar, research associate, right? Research associate as a scientist. This because there are very broad scientist jobs in government as well as in private sector. Now if you proceed PhD, now if you do only MSc organic chemistry, then there is a job for in petrochemical industries as an assistant chemist in various PSUs. They and in various in Asian paints, in paint industries, in solvent industries, in various industries you have job for MSc chemistry. In if you study chromatography, right, chromatography is also a part of organic chemistry which is used for purification, then there is a proper industries for chromatography for the purification of organic compound. So there are many industrial job available after MSc organic chemistry.
Oh, okay. So I can become a scientist also. I can also
Yeah,
get
after
into
MSc,
the
yeah,
job.
you need a research experience of about 6 to 8 years after MSc. So you can apply for the post of the scientist as well. But after MSc, you will need a research experience.
So all these archaeologists who are who do the carbon dating and all,
Yes.
do they have to learn organic chemistry also?
Carbon dating is a part of the that we called as the inorganic chemistry. Carbon
Inorganic
dating is
chemistry. Okay.
basically the part of the inorganic.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so
Any more questions, anyone? I believe we have no more questions. If you still have any question, you can drop in the comment box and we will try to solve them by the end of the session. So, as always, we share a quiz link for all the participants who are with us. We will be sharing the quiz link in the comment section. Kindly go through the quiz and submit your answers in order to receive your certificate. I have shared the quiz link on the comment box, and as soon as we receive the quiz answers, we will be providing you with the certificates on the same email ID. I may tell you all that only those who will submit their quiz answers will be receiving the certificate. So kindly cooperate and submit the quiz in order to receive your certificate. As some of you already know, we at AmSparks have started this new series of webinars. Our upcoming webinar is scheduled on the coming Saturday, that is 30th of October, on the topic nutrition. We also have other free webinars waiting in the series too. To know more, you may have to connect with our pages and websites. Apart from that, our company is looking for enthusiastic social media and digital marketing interns. In this entry-level role, you will get a chance to learn important skills and gain professional experience by working on campaigns with digital marketing team. We are also happy to announce that we have launched one of the greatest online course, that is Data Science Bootcamp, and today is the last day for its registration. The Data Science Bootcamp program by Alma Mater has been specially designed to enhance your career in data science with a touch of human intelligence into this program. The Data Science Bootcamp program by Alma Mater. In this program, you will learn from Python to machine. Our data science program gives you the breadth and depth needed to start your career as a data scientist. The interesting part of this data science bootcamp is after the bootcamp, you will have a clear understanding of the machine learning concepts and human mind. As we will be covering NLP, that is natural language processing, and NLP, that is neuro-linguistic programming for human mind. As we all know that data science is a solid career choice for both new and exceptional professionals. Aspiring professionals of any educational background with any analytical frame of mind are most suited to pursue our data science bootcamp program. Data science is one of the highly paid jobs in the world. With proper guidance, data science can become an easy field to learn about, and one can build a career in the field. This was just a brief about the course. If you are interested, you can register with our data science bootcamp and launch your career. And to know more details about other webinars, online classes, you can connect with our social handles. We will share the link with you on the comment box. And we have many other courses for students, from different kinds of streams and all. We would like to Yeah, so I have shared all the links on the comment box. You can copy the link and save it for your future use. So as I was saying, we have many other courses for students related for all the streams. Choose your course and do let us know if you need any new course of your interest. Also, we are running a special discount on the career guidance program. You can register with us and we will guide you to choose your best career. And to choose your best career, all you have to do is sit in a quiet place where no one can disturb you and attend a test. Apart from all these things, we also have our app. You can download the app for your convenience, go through all the courses we have. You can opt or request for a new course that you want, and we will shortly present it for you. Now, lastly, once again, if you have any more questions, you can ask the ma'am or drop it in the comment section. Anyone? If not, then I would like to thank each one of you once again for joining the webinar. We have shared all the details and all the links in the comment section. Kindly go through all the links. Also submit your quiz so that we can send you the certificates on your email ID. Make sure to submit the quiz to receive the certificate. Thank you for being the part of the webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.